Hello, everybody. My name is Julie Cerrone-Kroner, and I'm the Patient Leader Network Director here at WEGO Health. And tonight, we are talking about the FTC guidelines and really why they are important for patient leaders. We are working with more and more clients who are looking for influencers just like you in the health space. So more and more opportunities are going to be popping up. So let's get a head start, make sure we know these guidelines and, cover ourselves so none of us get in trouble. So what is the FTC? Well, the FTC is the Federal Trade Commission, and they are responsible for the laws and regulations for advertising, marketing, and promotional activities online. So they are the guiding force that's making sure that all the digital marketing that's going on, it's not false, it's being truthful, not leading people on. So if you think about it, whenever you go to Amazon and you're scrolling through products and maybe you're comparing two different things, sometimes you go to the comments to see, okay, what are people saying about this product? I know for myself, a lot of times I'm swayed by those reviews. And it's important that we as consumers know who's being paid for those comments, who maybe received free products. Maybe that doesn't matter to you, but we as the general public, we have the right to know that. And the FTC is really making sure that that's happening and enforcing regulations and guidelines. So the next time you're looking for a really great resort in Mexico and you come across this blogger who just had the most fantastic time at this resort, she would go back in a heartbeat, you can know that she was paid to either write that review, maybe her whole trip was compensated. Maybe that doesn't matter to you, but for some people it might. So it's just to be upfront and honest about it. So who needs to disclose? Well, there's really two buckets that we can fall into in this category of who needs to disclose. One, anybody who has asked you to give an endorsement or provide a testimonial for a given product or service. And also within that bucket, if you're given a free product, it can actually be a product, it can be a service. Maybe you go to a restaurant and get a free meal, stay at a hotel for free, anything like that. And number two, if you're a relative or an employee of the product or what's being marketed. Those are the two main buckets of things that need to be disclosed. So just want to do some high level, how do you disclose? Just hit the highlights here, and then I'm actually going to go through some examples of how to disclose on certain channels, so we'll get a little bit more deeper into it. But high level, disclosures really must be clear and upfront, making sure that you can read it easily, that it stands out against the background. It's not, hidden in the footer or behind some crazy photo that you can't really read. If it's in a video ad, it has to be there long enough that you're able to read it. It's not just something that like flashes by and maybe it caught your eye, maybe it didn't. And if it's an audio, it has to be read at a cadence that someone could understand. So, you didn't talk super, super fast and people could miss it. Just something that you can really understand. So it's pretty upfront, nothing really crazy about this here at a high level. So monitoring and enforcing these rules, the FTC, if you go to their website, they've actually said flat out, they're not monitoring bloggers on a daily basis. So they're not actively going and looking at blogs to see if you are violating terms. It's really if something is flagged as being a little, off the rails and it's not following the standards, then they'll start to look into it. And their main focus is on the advertisers and agencies, so they'll go after them. Not saying that you won't get penalized for it, but a lot of times they will go to them and they will work with them to figure out the remedy of the situation. There are definitely times, though, that actions can be taken against individuals. So it's something that you don't want to think like, oh, if I get in trouble, it's the person that hired me. No, you very much are still held accountable. But just saying the FTC would go to the advertisers or marketers first. So as we're working with digital marketers and legal teams here at WEGO Health, which we do a lot, pretty much on a daily basis, when we mention influencer marketing, a lot of them get terrified and they don't really want to talk about it, especially within the health field, because of a few different examples that I'm actually going to run through right now. Every time we bring up influencer marketing, one or two of these come up, and for good reason, because some people have gotten in trouble in the past. And especially within the healthcare industry, when you're toting a product or service or, a prescription drug or something like that, there's a lot of regulations that also go along with that on the FDA side. So it can take a little bit of finagling to get it down right, but we can still do it, and we can still do it really well as long as we're sticking to the FTC guidelines. So I'm going to give you two examples of bad influencer marketing campaigns that always come to people's minds. The first one here is Kim Kardashian, and you may remember this. It was all over the news. She was pushing this morning sickness drug, and here you can read you can read her post here. And in her post, she actually says, I'm partnering with this company. She gives a little bit of description of how she has used this product. But what she failed to do was to mention that she's a paid spokesperson for them. So nowhere in this post do I see that she got compensated for this. And two, she failed to address the risks of the treatment. Now, since this is a prescription drug, the FDA regulates that you need to say those type of things, and that was not in her post here at all. So she got a lot of flack for this, and a lot of companies, especially within healthcare, whenever they think of influencer marketing, they think of Kim Kardashian in this specific promo. And it's not that we can't do this. It's not that she couldn't do this. She absolutely could have done this. All she needed to do was put in here, hey, I was paid by this company to tell you about this. And then maybe also in the post listed the risks of the treatment that can be associated with taking it. Another example is a Lord & Taylor example, which isn't healthcare related, but they sent out this beautiful dress to about 50 influencers and also paid them thousands of dollars and said, hey, wear this dress, take some pictures of it, put it out on your social channels. But they did not disclose when they posted on their channels that they were given the dress for free and also paid thousands of dollars for it. So you can see the post here. There's two examples. What color is this dress? Feeling boho in my printed dress from Lord & Taylor, and so excited to be wearing this dress for spring. And people started noticing that all of these influencers were wearing the same dress. And actually, if you start reading the comments, you'll see someone says, hey, everyone's wearing this dress. Is this an ad or something? And then someone else says ad. So the problem with this campaign is that they failed to disclose that they were paid and given this dress. So maybe other people don't mind if this influencer was given this dress or that they were paid to wear it. But again, as the general public, we deserve to know if someone is paid to get to wear it, to give a review or anything like that. So it's not that they couldn't do this. They absolutely could have done this. They just needed to state that they were paid and they received the dress. So I'm going to go through different channels that you may use and give a few examples on how you can disclose and kind of what that looks like. So first, let's start with Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Really, you can kind of bundle these all together because it's really kind of the same. So acceptable disclosures would really just be, hey, make sure that you say it's an ad or that it's sponsored. You can use a hashtag ad or sponsored, or you can simply say ad or sponsored. You can say, hey, I am a paid spokesperson for XYZ company, or perhaps you say, so-and-so company gave me this free product to try, and then you talk about your experience with it. If you're given a link, make sure that it's it's spelled out. It's an affiliate link or it's a sponsored link. I know, and to be quite honest, I have been guilty of this in the past before I really understood all of this. You know, with an Amazon affiliate link, I would just put it in my blog post and not really spell out anything or put a disclosure in there. But if you do have an affiliate link or some kind of sponsored link, you should make sure that you disclose that. One thing to note is that if you abbreviate SPON, so at the bottom here, SPON, kind of like a abbreviation for sponsored, that is not sufficient because that's not being upfront and clear. Someone could take that as meaning something completely different. Maybe they don't understand that means sponsored. So it has to say sponsored or it has to say ad. Now on this slide, it says lead with ad or lead with ad or sponsored. It doesn't necessarily always have to be at the front of your post here. It just needs to be in there. Posts, you know, especially on Instagram or Facebook or Twitter, usually aren't super long. And even if they are longer and you open it up, you can read the whole thing. So their guidance is that it doesn't have to be in the front. It's better if it's in the front because you're upfront with your community, but it just needs to be in there somewhere. And you can even see this example here. This is going back to the Kim Kardashian example. She did post again about this prescription drug, and it was fine, you know, as long as she was saying, hey, it's an ad, you know, I'm a paid sponsor, gave the drug warnings for it. That was perfectly fine, and that was just something that they didn't do ahead of time. So it was kind of a huge lesson learned, and a huge lesson learned for the whole industry because everyone was talking about it. So YouTube and videos, how can you disclose in a video? One thing that's really clear in the guidelines is that you have to disclose in the same medium that you put out. So if it's a video, the disclosure has to be in the video. It can't just be in the text underneath the video or in the post description with the video. It actually has to be in the video. Again, it says it's great if you put it in the beginning of the video. That's just so that you're very upfront. For instance, this is a Cosentix commercial that's on YouTube, and it says all the patients have been compensated. They're on Cosentix, but they've been compensated, so that you know the relationship of these individuals before you even watch it, and you can kind of make your own decision about it. So blog posts, really, you can kind of do however you want. There's really nothing specific that you have to say in a blog post. You really just need to be very clear and very upfront that this is your affiliation. You're working with this company. Maybe you were compensated. Maybe you got a free product. This is an example, though, that you really need to put it in the beginning of the post. It can't be at the end of the post, because a lot of times people will start reading a blog post and they don't get all the way to the bottom. I know it's shocking. You think that people read every single word on your blog post, because that's what I think they do for mine, but they don't all of the time. And it's important that you write at the top. So going back to my example about how I'm an offender in the past of using affiliate links and not disclosing that. So if I was going to put those Amazon affiliate links in my post, at the top of it, I need to put some kind of disclaimer that says, hey, I'm using these affiliate posts. And I've seen it done really well. Some people say, hey, to supplement my blogging income, I use these affiliate posts, and there's nothing wrong with that. And again, you're just being upfront with your network. You're telling them exactly what to expect, and they can really be the deciding factor of if they trust you, if they don't trust you, and if they want to keep reading. Okay, so other things to know. What else do you need to know? You have to give an accurate experience. You cannot endorse something that you haven't tried. If you don't like something, you can't say that you loved it. You really have to be honest. And, that can be hard, because maybe you get a product and you don't like the outcome of it, or maybe you don't like the taste, you don't like the smell, you don't like how it worked, and that's a conversation that maybe you go back to the company and you say, hey, I don't know if you want me to write this bad review, like I just won't do it. But if you write the review online, or if you write a blog, or whatever it is, you have to be factual and give an accurate experience. Second thing here, unsubstantiated claims. So you cannot say that a product does something that the manufacturer does not state that it does. So here's an example. If you're given a lotion and you say, oh, this lotion, oh, it cured my eczema, it's completely gone, I'm cured for life. But the manufacturer never said, hey, our lotion cures eczema. That is something that you cannot state. You actually can get in a lot of trouble for that. And an example that I see ongoing is especially with essential oils. So a lot of distributors were saying, oh, these oils, they cured my pain, or they cure gastroparesis, or blah, 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 all these different things. Well, the manufacturer of the essential oils are saying, hey, we never said that. That's, false advertisement. And they actually got in a lot of trouble with that. So you cannot provide any misleading information in unsubstantiated claims. So if there's something like a lotion, or if there's some kind of product that is targeted to help something specific, I would suggest that when you talk to that manufacturer, you talk to that marketing company, you say, okay, what is this indicated for? What do you intend the outcome to be, so that you can be factual and that you don't say anything that could get you in trouble. Online reviews. So if you are given a free product for in exchange for a review. So I know a lot of time mom bloggers are given a free bottle of shampoo, or maybe a Kraft macaroni and cheese or something like that. If you're given a free product, you have to say that you were given that free product. As a consumer, we deserve to know that you were given that product to review. If you do get a free product, and then in the future you end up buying that product and you start posting about it, and you're not getting paid, or it has nothing to do with that, you're fined that way. But if you are given something and you're reviewing it, you have to be upfront. So say, for instance, there's a new restaurant opening up in town, and you are invited, and your meal's comped, you go, you have to be upfront and say, hey, this meal was comped, I was invited for the grand opening, and then you can state your review. So we have to be upfront about that. Using quotes. So if a company interviews you to use a quote for their marketing, maybe they're putting it on their social feeds, or they're making some advertisements, it really comes down to whether you're going to be compensated or not. So if someone interviews you and there's no discussion of compensation, and it really was kind of just hey, let us know how you liked our service or our product, then you don't have to disclose anything. But if you are given compensation, and compensation doesn't just have to be money, maybe it was a free service, maybe there's a new, my mind just went blank. Maybe there's a new salon that opens up and they're giving away free facials, right? And you get a free facial, that you have to state that if you give a quote. But if you're not compensated, then you don't have to state that you were state anything. You can just give your quote. It really, when it comes down to it, companies are responsible for educating you on what you should be, not necessarily what you can or can't should be saying, because it really should be your words and your accurate experience, but they should be teaching you what to disclose, and they should be taking reasonable steps to monitor what you're doing. So they should be looking at your posts, and perhaps you put something in, you forget to put ad, or that it's sponsored. They should be catching that, because they can get in a lot of trouble. And like I said, the FTC has said publicly that they're not looking through bloggers' blogs to really monitor this, but if there's a red flag raised, they're going to go after those companies. And, you really could be held accountable from that company if there's a problem. So the bottom line is, when in doubt, disclose it. Disclose. If you aren't sure if you should disclose it. Be clear and upfront. As patient leaders, it takes a lot of trust and time to build our communities, and we don't want to destroy that trust and respect that we have in the community. So be upfront and don't do anything that you're not proud of, or don't do anything that someone could, misconstrue it as being deceitful, because I'm sure that's not your intention, but we really want to be upfront and clear. Just don't deceive your network. Just follow the rules and we will all be good. Now, I will say this. If you go and read the FTC endorsement guides, a lot of it is ambiguous. It could be interpreted many different ways. So really, and I actually watched a webinar a few months ago with a lawyer who was kind of talking about this, who was talking about this subject. And she said, just common sense. If you think you should disclose it, disclose it. Being upfront is the best thing that you can do. If you're upfront about something and you didn't end up having to, you didn't need to disclose it, what's the worst that can do? As long as if you are being true to yourself and your network, then it really shouldn't be that big of a problem. So thanks everybody for coming tonight, and hope to see you all soon. Talk to you soon.